Let's be honest. You've been texting a guy, things are going great, there's chemistry, banter, that playful spark. Then out of nowhere, or maybe not so out of nowhere, he sends you that text. The kind that makes your heart race a little. It might be flirty, bold, suggestive, maybe even a little explicit. And now you're sitting there with your phone, trying to figure out what to do. Do you match his energy? Do you shut it down? Do you pretend it didn't happen? What's the right way to respond? This is where so many people get stuck, because sexual texts can feel like a minefield. Respond too openly, and you worry you're coming off too easy. Respond too coldly, and you fear you've killed the vibe. And let's be real, sometimes it's just plain awkward. But this moment, how you respond to a sexual text, actually tells you and him a lot more than you might realize. Not just about sex, but about the kind of relationship you're building. So let's talk about what's really happening when a guy sends you a sexual message. First, let's clear this up. Not all sexual texts are bad. Sometimes it's a sign of comfort, playfulness, a desire to deepen the connection. But other times, it's a shortcut, a way to bypass emotional intimacy and skip straight to physical attention. Your job isn't to play into either role blindly. It's to tune in and decide what you want this moment to become. Because this isn't just about what he wants. It's about your standards, your comfort, your values, and your goals for the relationship. So here's the Gen 1 rule. Don't just respond to him, respond to the dynamic. Let me explain. When you get a sexual text, it's not just about the words he used, it's about the context. Where is the relationship? How emotionally connected are you? Has he invested time in getting to know you? Or is he jumping straight into flirting before you've even had a real conversation? Is this someone you trust? Someone who's building something with you? Or someone testing to see how far you'll go with minimal effort? When you respond to that context, not just the content of the message, you stay in control, and that's powerful. Let's say a guy sends you something like, "I can't stop thinking about what I'd do to you right now." That's a bold one. Now, depending on your dynamic, this could either be exciting or off-putting. If this is someone you've been seeing, someone who's shown genuine interest, an emotional connection, maybe that text lands well. It could feel thrilling, sexy, even flattering. But if this is someone who's barely asked you about your day, someone who hasn't shown up in real ways, well, now it feels cheap, right? Like you're being reduced to a fantasy before even being fully seen. So your response needs to align with your values and your goals. Are you building a relationship with this person, or are they just trying to build a fantasy? Now here's something crucial. You don't have to mirror the energy just to keep him interested. A lot of people think if they don't match the sexual tone, they'll lose the guy's attention. But that's not how attraction works. Not sustainable attraction. Anyway, what actually builds real chemistry is polarity. Two people each showing up in their own energy and truth. When you respond authentically, whether that's playful, firm, or flirtatiously teasing, you maintain respect. And respect is what keeps desire alive long term. So let's walk through a few different ways you could respond, depending on the situation. If you're interested in him, but feel like it's too soon, or the text came too quickly, you can respond with warmth and boundary. Something like, bold move. I like confidence, but I like emotional connection even more. Let's build that first. That's powerful. You're not shaming him. You're not shutting him down, but you're reminding him of the kind of connection you're actually looking for. That kind of message gives him a choice. He can step up or step out. If you are feeling playful and the context feels right, you can engage without giving everything away. Flirt with mystery. For example, "Oh, you have quite the imagination. Let's see if your conversation game is as strong as your fantasy life." That keeps the door open, but shifts the energy back to meaningful interaction. And if you're flat out uncomfortable, or the message crossed a line, It's totally okay to say that. Hey, I'm not comfortable going there yet. I'd rather build something a little deeper before things get physical. That kind of clarity is refreshing. And here's the thing. If a guy disappears after that, he was never here for the right reasons. Anyway, one of the biggest mistakes I see is women responding to sexual texts based on fear. Fear of losing him, fear of being judged, fear of not seeming fun. But the truth is, the right person will be more turned on by your confidence than your compliance. A man who's truly into you will find your standards sexy. He won't be turned off by the fact that you don't instantly fall into sexting. In fact, he'll probably respect you more, because people don't fall for what's easy, they fall for what's real. Now let's talk about a subtle dynamic that happens when sexting enters too early. Sometimes guys will test the waters to see if you'll go there, and if you do, before there's been real investment, it can shift the tone of the entire relationship. Suddenly, things become more about gratification and less about growth. The emotional foundation never gets built. That doesn't mean you should never flirt or be sexual. It just means timing matters. Emotional connection first, then chemistry. That's the order that builds something lasting. And yes, you can absolutely be sexy without being sexual. Sexy is energy. It's the confidence in how you hold yourself. It's your sense of humor, your intellect, your ability to be both strong and soft. A woman who owns her presence is far more magnetic than someone who simply sends suggestive messages. So here's something to ask yourself when you get that kind of text. Do I feel seen right now, or do I feel like an object? That question alone can guide your entire response. Because when a man truly sees you, your heart, your mind, your values, sexual chemistry becomes an extension of emotional intimacy, not a substitute for it. And that's what you want to build. One thing I often suggest is using moments like this to redirect the energy, not reject it. If a guy sends a bold message and you want to stay engaged, but raise the bar, you might say something like, haha, I'll take that as a compliment, but I'm way more turned on by emotional intelligence than sexy one-liners. Tell me what you've been thinking about lately. Besides that, it's a challenge, a tease, a boundary, and it works. Because here's the truth. If a guy is only interested in the sexual side of you, and that's all he talks about, he's telling you everything you need to know. If he's also interested in your thoughts, your stories, your spirit, and he flirts along the way, now you've got something worth exploring. Ultimately, the best response to a sexual text is the one that makes you feel good, not the one that tries to keep him interested, not the one that matches his energy if it doesn't feel right, the one that's rooted in your truth. So if you're turned on and ready to explore that vibe, great, go there with confidence, on your terms. But if you're not there yet, or not sure you ever want to be, your job isn't to make him comfortable, it's to honor yourself. Because the sexiest thing in the world is someone who knows what they want, communicates it clearly, and respects themselves enough to walk away from anything that doesn't align. That's the energy that makes someone unforgettable. That's the woman who doesn't just respond to his texts. She reshapes the entire conversation. And that's the kind of connection that turns short-term sparks into something with real, lasting fire.